Oh, this video is not sponsored by, but is definitely brought to you by Banana Bread Beer. Look, normally I at least brush my hair for these videos. I'll at least try to make myself presentable. I have had, like, you know the movie Groundhog's Day? Take that homeboy's irritation and frustration and multiply that by the number of atoms in the universe. That was kind of my day today, okay? So I'm 2 beers deep. I have no tolerance to alcohol. I was gonna make a video about someone else, but you know what? I'm gonna make a video about me. Okay? I'm super drunk. There might be a pause break while I vomit. I'm not really sure yet. So, who is Valesti? Who is that, like, massive dick who, irritated so many people, was probably blacklisted by more people than anyone on the server? Who am I? Well, I actually learned recently that I'm autistic, which probably explains my, memory of these odd and bizarre, very specific things from so long ago. I can actually remember when I was 2 years old. Uh, like I can actually remember these faint memories from when I was about one, even. And it's like, oh, that's a trait of autism. I kind of looked back on my life and I was like, fuck. Yeah, actually, I am partially autistic. Well, son of a bitch. Okay. I've learned that it's actually kind of a sweet advantage, to be real honest with you, in terms of mental abilities. It's uh, it's the communication that sucks. I distinctly remember the moment I broke through my horrendous introversion, and that was a huge benefit to me. And I guess I never realized I was autistic, but I mean, modern day. I mean, geez, look at my forehead. I mean, geez, that's kind of a dead giveaway. Like, it's too. Autism is too much inside, not enough outside. It's kind of an imbalance, but if a person can control it, is a massive advantage to them. I think the problem is that a lot of people are, especially people with autism, they take a lot of things personally, and that's a huge disadvantage. To be honest with you, you'll take a feather falling out of the sky personally when you have like severe autism. Um, Mine, thankfully, is not that bad. Uh, uh, you know, Again, drunk, bad lexicon, bad vernacular, um, using really base, stupid words right now. Please forgive me. I obviously don't mean any offense. I mean, I'm an autistic person too. Uh, I, I mean, I'm self-deprecating all the time as well. I'm sure anyone who played with me or saw my, shout wars with people for 5 consecutive years, before I got put in the in-game jail 3 times. Like, no joke. I survived in-game jail 3 times. I survived the third strike. Not even playing you. Don't I like praise Jesus for the GM who had mercy on my account. Um, this is a fun story. Okay, I don't want to say his name because I really don't like him. I don't like him so much. I don't even want his name as part of this stupid chronicle. I think I kind of remember his name, but I think I nicknamed him Mordecai because I don't like the name Mordecai. Even though I know that's not his name, we'll just say Mordecai for the sake of this story. It was 2 years prior to my third time getting into jail. Okay, I was in jail twice because I was a jerk. I cussed people out in PMs. I cussed people out and shout. I was the people's voice. Okay, I was a dumb teenager looking for an outlet for my angst, right? And so I was the people's voice. I was like, everyone hates this douchebag, so I'm gonna be the guy who says, "Hey, you're a douchebag, you piece of crap," and shout and just start a massive flame war for like half an hour. Big surprise, you ended up in jail again, Valesti. That like you would think by the time I was temp banned 2 times, I would have learned a lesson. Uh, well, it's not the autism, let me tell you. Okay, look, autistic people typically, when authority threatens them with like taking away privileges, for example, they typically are kind of like they kind of bow toward it. I'm Italian though, and I don't fucking like authority. Okay, I want to just chill. So I did not learn my lesson after the second time, and I was level 73 on Thief, and I remember being very excited to go level up in King Rampare's tomb because I had spent a long time leveling club skill on my paladin so that I could carry it over into Thief because we're gonna go fight a bunch of skeletons, but I'm with a bunch of my friends that I love playing with, and we're gonna have a good time. And then right as we get to the staircase, right, where it goes from the low level area into where the level 50 bats and the triple bats start, right there on top of the staircase, where famously Vitra was somehow pulled up the staircase and a GM had to intervene. That was a fun time. Didn't happen on our server. Did not happen on our server. I won't claim that. But I've seen the pictures of the GM having to intervene on the Vitra that was pulled up into the low level part of King Rampare's tomb. That did happen. But then I see Mordecai right there, and the first time I saw him, 2 years prior, he had a peace ring in his bazaar, and it was up for 12,345 gil. Way more than it was clearly worth, but I was interested because it was a low level ring that had enmity minus, whatever on it. So I was like, I don't really have astral rings for my white mage, so maybe I want to find out where to get this peace ring from. So I sent him a PM and I was like, hey, that's a cool ring. Where'd you get that from? Right before the airship takes off, he replies to my PM and says, go fuck yourself, asshole. I didn't know what to say, so I just didn't respond at all. But 2 years later, in King Rampare's tomb, right as I'm about to go level my thief. Thief. You know how hard it was to get thief to 75 back then? I'm at 73. I have tons of great equipment. I have a good club. I'm subbing ninja. I'm ready to smack the crap out of some skeletons with my hornet needle in my left hand for TP gain. And then I see Mordecai and I can't control myself. And I send him a PM and I say, hey, fuckface. Hope you burn in hell, you stupid piece of shit. And then we sneak and go all the way into that stupid area where there's that weird like machine behind the invisible wall where you have to do the weird code with the ancient artifact to get stupid items with the colored chips that people like safely pulled skeletons and undead into. We get all the way in the camp. We spent all that freaking time, all that silent oil, the freaking week it took us to organize this party to finally get down there. And because I had to send a PM to Mordecai, I distinctly remember I go up, pull a skeleton. I drag it back to camp. I'm looking at the other parties and I'm like, they don't have a monk like we do. These guys can suck a dick. We're going to have like the biggest EXP chain possible. The skeleton gets into camp. Everyone draws their weapons. I hit the skeleton one time. My hornet needle does not even hit the skeleton. My screen goes black. I'm like, oh, was there a power outage? This is the worst time to get a power outage, man. This sucks. And then I see in the bottom right corner, now loading. I'm like, did someone cast Warp 2 on me or something? And then I go over to AOL Instant Messenger, and someone in the party, they message me. They're like, bro, why are you in jail? And then my screen loads in, and the jail in the game looks like that one area under Saruta Baruta. It's weird. It looks exactly like that area, but it's a room with 4 walls on it and no way out of it. The map is completely blank. And it's got this weird blue tint to it. And you're just in this room completely alone. And it's just like area, Meridian Gaol, or jail, the proper way you're supposed to say jail, but it's spelled with Gaol. And you're just in this room completely alone. And I've been here twice. I've been here twice before. And I was just like, no way. Mordecai called the GM on me for that PM, because PMs, that can get you into a lot of trouble. PMs and shouts, that could get you into the most trouble. Link shell chat, not really actually. But oh man, shout and PMs, yeah man, GMs will get you. I learned from that. So as I'm in jail for the 3rd time, I'm like, I'm not going to get to level 75 thief, am I? The worst part, most embarrassing part, I was still in the party. And then I looked and I'm like, I see my health and my like 21 MP or whatever from the gear I had. And everyone in my party is just like King Rampage's tomb. So they could see on the party list that I was in jail. Like, that's embarrassing, okay? When your entire group of friends that you love, that you've been friends with outside of the game for quite some time, you've been hunting H&Ms together, you've been getting the Sirocco knife together, you've been hunting Joyesses together. Like, you know, these are people that you are effing down with, right? And they see me in jail in the party list. That was embarrassing. What was really scary was when the GM appeared, and the very first thing he said one short little sentence. At first, he said, I see that this is your 3rd infraction. I was like, my heart just like was gone. It didn't shrink. It didn't like fall down or anything. My heart just disappeared. I was like, well, I'm not going to be able to play this game anymore, am I? That was further enforced when the GM was like, your account will be under temporary yet permanent suspension, you know, until a headmaster GM reviews your account at which time a permanent decision will be made. Do you understand? He then said. And I was a petulant asshole teenager who was pretty much under the impression that, like, yo, I'm done. This is the last straw. This is the last I will ever get. I just was like, yeah, I understand. But Mordecai can still suck a fucking dick. And then I took a screen of my television, because I was a PS2 player. I took a screen on my television of me telling the GM that. And then about 30 seconds later, my screen again went black. And it was just on the title screen of Final Fantasy XI. And then I went and I thought a lot about myself. I thought a lot about myself at that point. And I was like, you know what? There's something not quite right with me. I should learn to control it. I should learn to control whatever is ticking incorrectly with me, I guess. It was probably like a month something later. I was just like, you know what? I wonder if I can log into Final Fantasy XI. Tried logging in. I was like, oh, I'm at my home point in Bastock. And the link shell chat was just like, yo, Val, what what happened? And I'm like, everyone's 75. Not me. Not on my thief anyway. I was 75 on Paladin already. But I wanted to be 75 on thief. And man, after that, I didn't get into the shout wars anymore. Except for the time I got Helic banned. Let me tell you, like, if you go back to like the second video for, I don't even remember what it is. I'm drunk as fuck right now. I did a video about how I got Helic banned. Like, let me give you some extra context on that. I survived a third strike from being a punk in shout and PMs. And I still did that and got him banned permanently. Like, this was like two blades crossing up against each other, right? The first one to get the correct advantage and cut the other one's throat wins. So, you know, I should tell you, Helic was also like on a one more infraction, you're gone. And so was I. And still got him banned. Still smiling about that, you motherfucker. I don't give a shit. You were one of the most scummy human beings I've ever met. Won't really get too much more into you. You already got a whole video. But wow, man. Man, even your own brother. I was in a dynamic shell with his brother. His brother couldn't stand the guy either. He talks so much, couldn't stand the guy, that he constantly had to vent in the Dynamis link shell chat about how much his brother constantly irritated him all the freaking time. Like, clearly this guy incessantly manipulating, venomous, controlling. Just F that guy, okay? F that guy. So, you know, what more about this idiot here? I learned a lot about women, actually, from that game. You know, the good and the bad. That was important to me, because I didn't have a lot of interactions with women, so a lot of that came from online. But like, I don't mean to say that you can simplify women in that way. I mean to say that I was such an ignorant dumbass that I understood so little about women that interacting with them online was actually like a beneficial, like educational experience for me. Like, I know that probably sounds pretty sad, but I don't really give a shit. Like, that's one of the other like interesting things about autism is that a lot of social judgments don't really affect you, but the ones that do are like natural 20s. You know what I'm saying? Like they critically hit and you take it so personally, even after you've developed a lot of resistances and shields against taking things personally. Every once in a while, something will just hit you so just like directly in a vital point that you can't help but respond in a way you wouldn't normally respond. And objectively, I think it's hilarious. Like, uh, it's a social quirk. You can't really let individual moments define you, I guess. But I guess that's the odd thing about Final Fantasy 11. This is gonna be a long ass video. I cleared my phone for this. The reason I started playing Final Fantasy 11 was because I don't like to say I died because I didn't really die. My brain didn't stop, but my heart did temporarily. I mean, my heart has stopped all the time. Actually, I had heart arrhythmia up until I was 2. Heart arrhythmia is when your heart just stops beating. Fuck you, your heart stopped beating. Um, yeah, I mean, I actually have a vague memory of that when I was about 4 years old. I was old enough to be in the bathtub by myself, and I distinctly remember like letting the water, like come into my mouth, so the roof of my mouth was dry and my tongue was submerged underwater, and just kind of like just messing with the water, right? And I was in the bathroom with the door closed. I had no adult supervision, and the only real like clear memory I have is that I had really bad heartburn, and this white foam was like coming out of my mouth across the surface of the water. And I remember looking at it for a while, and I'm just like, what? Why is my throat and my chest burn so bad? And what is this like white, mucusy, milky foam coming out of my mouth and just like going across the surface of the water? And I feel really dizzy and lightheaded, and I'm just like, what? This is weird. Why is this happening? And it's because my fucking heart stopped beating. I don't know what the fuck was happening, honestly. I don't know the medical terminology for it or anything, but yeah, I was pretty much drowning to death, and my heart was just stopped, and I was just like in the water, and I was like watching myself like puke myself to death and suffocate and drown. And I was just like, huh, that's interesting. Wonder why that's happening. And then I remember like coming up from the water, and then the clearest thought in my very young mind all of a sudden was just like, whoa. And I remember looking up at those 4 big light bulbs with big four circular light bulbs up against the mirror. I remember looking right at those and just taking this big old deep breath, like just. And I remember thinking, whoa, I don't think I took a breath for like 2 minutes. I think I could hold my breath underwater for a long time. And then when I was, like 35 years old, I thought back to that moment and I realized, oh, fuck, my heart stopped beating in the tub. I almost fucking drowned to death. Wow, man. Praise Jesus for saving me, man. Because I should have been dead. When I was in the military, I got misdiagnosed. At first, they said I had a cold. I was like, nah, it's got to be worse than that, man. You should never talk back to a doctor because they are COs. Okay, if you're an NCO, don't ever talk back to a doctor, okay? They are COs. They outrank you. If you talk back to them, they will F you up. I got effed up bad. And when a doctor is yelling at a trainee, guess what? The freaking sergeant over in the hallway who hears the doctor yelling, he comes in too. Guess what? You got to hand out 2 of these stupid little slips that you got to write yourself that has your name on it, has the dorm you're in, the squadron you're in, and your TI on it, and your social security number just to further identify yourself so they know exactly what training instructor to go to be like, hey, this dude effed up. Make sure he gets punished. Because that's what they freaking do to you if you dare tell the doctor, hey, doc, I've actually had pneumonia twice before. I don't think it's just cold. So he sends me over to Wilford Medical Hall after I got to hand out, 2 347s, to one to the doctor, one to the frickin' sergeant. Wilford Medical Hall does some x-rays on me. I go back to training. And like 2 days later, the doctor calls me in. And this is the only time, only time I got an apology from someone who outranked me. Doctor, looking at the x-rays, puts them up on the wall, points to them even, looking at me, and says, I apologize. It is not a cold. It is more severe than that. Because all they gave me was Tylenol and cough medicine. Because, you can't really give a cold anything else than that. But he then tells me, I have bronchitis. Pretty bad, honestly. So he's like, okay, look, I'm going to give you some strong ass stuff. And for the next 2 days, you have bed rest. That means no details in the dorms. You're excused from PT for the next 2 days. You're on bed rest. You need the extra rest in bed, not moving. Stay hydrated for the next 2 days. Okay. I'm like, okay, cool. Thank you. Go back to the dorm. It's probably about like 6 o'clock by the time I get back to the dorm. Everyone's doing dorm details. The most obnoxious thing when you sweep the tile floors in those dorms is you have to use your bathroom sandals or flip-flops or thongs if you're European. Because those are the best things to sweep the tile floors with, because there's so much dust in there. And everyone just sweeps into from one end of where the lockers are on the far end toward the middle, and some dude comes in with a broom. We sweep all that toward the bathrooms to throw it away in the dustbins there. And I really hated the bed rest, actually, because everyone on there fucking sucked at details. All these people were a bunch of mommy coddled retards who didn't know how to do anything. Like, they didn't know how to sweep a floor. They didn't know how to clean a sink. They didn't. I'd be surprised if these guys knew how to make toast properly. They didn't know how to iron anything properly. These did not do nothing properly. I did not like the bed rest because I knew how to do everything, and they were a bunch of troglodytes. Not happy with the bed rest. Now, I'm trying to chill in bed, and that is very difficult when you are in an area about the size of, let me think, maybe about 2 or 3 of these garages. Okay, not that big. Day room is locked at nighttime because it's a freaking day room. Supposed to be. Probably get into that later because it's probably gonna be like an hour long freaking video. I am exceedingly drunk again. I don't normally drink, so it's hit me really hard. Um, there's our dorm was actually overbooked, as I recall. Because we initially got in at 4 in the morning because our flight was delayed getting into Texas for to get into Lackland AFB, and I actually survived the initial cut into that specific squadron. The other people got sent over to Disneyland, which that's a fun story. But I was stuck in the Rock Squadron at first before I got fucking sick as hell. And I'm laying there in bed. One of the element leaders comes over. And he's like, Salbato, why are you laying in bed? I'm like, I have doctor's orders to lay in bed for the next 2 days, bro. Like, I'm actually really sick. He's like, all right, let me see your doctor's orders. I'm like, actually, bro, you're not allowed to see those. As according to military law, if you actually study your BTMSG, I got, tough with him. I was 18 years old. So I was like, yo, if you study your BTMSG, you would know doctor's orders are for the patient, the doctor, and the immediate TI when you're in basic training. You're not allowed to see them. You're just an element leader. So as I'm laying in bed, nice and cozy, tucked in like a little cocoon, trying to relax, 59 other guys in a freaking very compact little dorm that like it houses 60. There's 60 beds, but it's incredibly loud. And man, I have been to dumps that do not smell as bad as male military dormitories, okay? We had to have rules about like everyone get the same scented Axe body spray so that the latrine smells the same, right? Can't have a bunch of different scents in there. It's nauseating. So we all voted everyone get Phoenix, okay? Yo, look, hell yeah, Phoenix. Thank you, Axe Body Spray Phoenix. You made our latrine bearable. But this punk element leader all tripping on his fake authority. It's not even an official rank. Like, even dorm chief isn't an official rank. It's just to establish a hierarchy within a dormitory. But this guy tries to get all tough, which is fair because I'm an Italian dickhead and I tried to get tough with him. But he actually goes straight up into my night display, pulls out my doctor's orders because you have to carry those on you at all times. So I had them on my night display for the next day. He just goes straight up into it, pulls it out, reads it, and he's like, hey, look, it says sitting details only. And I tell him, yeah. And look above it in the superseding section where it says 2 days of bed rest. I'm on 2 days of bed rest. And then for the next 9 days following that, I'm on sitting details only. Now, look, again, for an autistic person who still had trouble communicating in a social environment, I felt pretty good for standing up for myself, and having that violated immediately afterward was very troubling, especially because I was trying to rest because I was sick as hell. I could barely breathe. This dude goes and talks over to the other three element leaders. I'm looking over at it. Other people are looking over at it because when all four element leaders are like huddled up in a circle, everyone takes notice because we were over in just, one bay. So there's like supposed to be 30 people. So when the other two element leaders from the B bay are in the A bay, now there's 32 people in this one cramped little area, and four of them are important people who are huddled together at the front of all the beds, where the single beds are lined up toward the latrine, the bunk beds toward the back. Everyone clearly noticed that they were huddled together. Everyone clearly noticed when they came over to my bed, ripped the sheets off, dragged me at first just by my right arm and leg out of the bottom bunk, which I was sleeping in, and then by my left arm and leg, and carried me like some parade float down the middle of the aisle, clearly noticeable by the person sweeping down the aisle and clearly noticeable by all the other people sweeping the floor with their sandals or thongs if you're European. And clearly noticeable by the fact that everybody shut the fuck up and wasn't making a single sound, watching, but doing nothing. Not even asking, why is this person who is sick and on bed rest being dragged into the latrine? I don't actually know what I was feeling at that point. Because I hadn't slept very much. I wasn't able to eat very much in Chow Hall. I was a little delirious. So I honestly don't have a clear recollection of exactly what I was feeling at that moment. It's probably what rape victims feel like, though. I mean, that's just like this nebulous thing that there's not really words for, I guess. Well, the thing that made it really bad is that I'm in my tidy whitey underwear, okay, and a brown shirt and my socks. I don't have any shoes on. I don't have any pants on, right? I don't have any military cover on. Nothing. I'm in a brown shirt and tidy whitey underwear. That's it. With socks on a dirty tile latrine floor that's got, just piss stains and leaks all over it and the grout everywhere, right? And these four dudes standing over me with their boots on still, fully dressed, everything. I still don't exactly know what I felt or what I thought was going to happen at that point. But I certainly wasn't expecting to be handed chrome cleaner, which has ether in it, and being forced to clean under the pipes of all the sinks in the latrine, in my underwear and my socks while I had bronchitis. By the way, it wasn't bronchitis. Took me, I think, an hour. I'm really not sure because, again, I was very delirious. At this point, I'm inhaling chrome cleaner with a serious, bacterial lung infection on a dirty, cold floor in a latrine. Let me think. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There was 12 sinks. I had to clean all the pipes coming out from the walls, going up into the sinks. When I was done with that, they made me clean the urinals. And throughout this whole time, surprisingly, no one had to go to the bathroom because then they would have to, intervene. So I'm still in there. And they tell me I have to clean the urinals. So I asked for rubber gloves. I'm like, bro, I've been doing this with bare hands. He looks over at the other element leaders. They snicker to each other. He grins at me. And he just says, nah. That's it. He just says, nah. No other communication. That was literally it. And they're all just sitting there in the doorway, blocking anyone from entering or exiting. As I had to sit there with paper towels and noxious cleaners with my bare hands, cleaning out all the nasty stains from all three urinals up against the wall. That probably took me about, I don't know, 25 more minutes, I guess. I only remember this because of the time lights out occurred. And there was just some nebulous period after that where they finally let me out of the latrine. I go back and sit in my bottom bunk. And that other snide element leader whose face I barely remember, really, he comes over to me and he says, since you got such a loud mouth and wants to talk back all the time, throws a BTMSG at me. Basic Military Training Study Guide, by the way. Which is like 300 pages. And he tells me, get on the top bunk and read this, every single letter from the cover to the back until lights out, loud enough so that the entire dormitory, including the B bay, can hear you. Again, with a lung infection after spending an hour inhaling chrome cleaner, I then had to shout very loudly because they went into the B bay and were asking the very nervous, scared, shitless other trainees, can you hear Salvato in the A bay? And some of these motherfuckers would say no because they were so scared they had to answer honestly. And they would come over and make me shout even louder until my throat was burning and rasping. Because I realized at that point, no one was going to back me up. I got to, like, I think page 47. That number's kind of burned into my brain. I had to read literally every single thing, the headers, the footnotes, at every single letter. If I missed something, they would let me know, and I'd have to start the page over again. The next morning for PT was a 2.5 mile run at 4:20 in the morning. You wake up at 4 in the morning, you assemble on the pad by 4:10. You get into position by 5:15. Your first group starts running. You start going. You're in full swing by 4:20 because we had a huge flight that had to be broken up into multiple groups because the track was only so wide. Guess what? In the Air Force in the United States, bronchitis as a diagnosis does not excuse you from physical training. That's fair. In an actual war, in a wartime effort, bronchitis should not inhibit even an airman. That's fair. I agree with that. I did not agree with the doctor that I had bronchitis. It was freezing cold that morning. I'm from California, okay? Like 50 degrees is cold to me, okay? I shiver in that. I'm in Texas, 4 in the morning. It's like 18 degrees. I'm like, wow, I've never seen so much of my breath all at once. Every single, like, wow, I didn't realize human breath went that far. I didn't realize we exhaled so much every time. Like, it was crazy to me. It was burning the hell out of my chest just walking in formation. But I trained for a year and a half before I joined. Like, when I'm like a little bit into 16, I was like, I want to join the military. Like, I'm gonna start running. I'm gonna start running. I'm gonna start running in these combat boots, okay? Right? Okay, look. I don't wear these because I have like connections to the military. I kind of fucking hate the military actually because of what they did to me. I wear these because military grade material lasts forever. I've had these pair of pants for 12 years. They're pretty freaking sweet. So when I finally get up, time to run, I'm like, I trained for this. This is what my life is going to be. I'm dedicated to this. I'm ready to go. I don't bronchitis, whatever I have. Let's go. I'm ready. I'm going to break this. I'm a beast. I can push myself. I'm ready to show you motherfuckers who doubted me, who put me through that shit last night. I'm going to fuck you up on this track. As I'm running along the track, I see one of the element leaders puking his guts out on the side of the track. One of the TIs comes running over at him like, are you puking on my grass, trainee? Move your ass. I don't fucking care if you're throwing up. They didn't say fuck. I'm drunk. That's my mistake. They said piss a lot in the Air Force, actually. Are you puking on my piss and grass? Move your ass, you little piss ant. That's what they said. They didn't say the F word in the Air Force, actually. I'll be honest with you, straight up. Like, I never actually heard any superior officer say the F word. They said piss a lot. For some reason, they just taught them to say that. But I felt really vindicated as I'm running past this dickhead who was bullying me the previous night. He's puking his guts out and having a superior officer cuss at him and telling him, I don't care if you're puking, you better keep running. That was wonderful. That was great, especially when I ran past him. And I felt so fueled by that. I was just like, yes, I got my revenge on the track on this one piece of crap. Hell yeah. I'm gonna tear this fucking track up. My lungs were just like the coldest and hottest thing I've ever felt in my life. They were burning all the way up into my shoulders. They were burning up into my elbows. And then I was like, man, I can barely feel my fingers, dude. But I don't care. I gotta just gotta keep going. I started sprinting at that point. I was like, I have nothing left in me. Then I start sprinting like a freaking cheetah. I'm like on the last stretch, right? This is like the last freaking what? Like probably 3,000 feet to go on this 2.5 mile run. Every part of my body is just freezing cold, right? And then I remember the last clear thought I had. I distinctly remember this exact thought going through my head very desperately, very seriously. Where'd my legs go? And then I didn't have the motivation to run anymore. It was like this critical emergency of just like, that's interesting. Where did my legs go? Did I take them off or some shit? Why would I? Hey, I'm gonna go walk over to this grass, and that was it. In retrospect, I realized my hands weren't cold. My heart fucking stopped. My heart stopped beating. I ran past that fucking piece of fucking shit so fucking hard. My fucking heart stopped. I was fucking dead. I was still fucking running because I wanted to show up that motherfucker so hard for what he fucking did to me. My heart fucking stopped. Again, right? Thought I was over that. Didn't tell any of the recruiters about that. you won't get accepted if you tell them about that. It stopped when I was like 2, right? Nah, my fucking heart stopped, dude. I kept fucking running. Cause fuck that guy. Nobody fucking treats me like that. I woke up in Wilford Medical Hall. It's it's kind of funny every time I watch Talladega Nights. The bitch wife who's like, he got more cords hooked up to him than a Circuit City. That's funny to me. It really is funny to me. But it makes me remember waking up in a fucking hospital. It was some weird fucking shit, okay? Waking up in the hospital after that, I only learned what happened to me because some other trainee on the track who was in my flight, I think he felt sorry for me the previous night. Because I was like put into a Hummer, then I got apparently put into an ambulance. And you can't go by yourself as a trainee. You have to have accountability, so another trainee has to go with you. Um, I kind of remember a little bit of what he told me before he had to go back to our squadron. But I remember like coming out of it, right? I don't know exactly what happened. I just vaguely remember being told like I had some incredible fever of some like 107 shit, something like it probably caused brain damage in me. Like I don't know what the fuck happened to me. I don't know exactly what happened to me other than it was like some new doctor. I had to deal with a shitty doctor who misdiagnosed me. And then I got that brand new doctor, right? That brand new doctor who won't let someone die. I don't even know who that guy was, man. But he saved my life. He wouldn't let me die. He made my heart start beating again. I don't know who he was. I have no idea who the guy was who saved my life. But I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him, man. Now, even though I got resuscitated, it got a little worse from there. I'm like coming out of this just insane reverie, right? When you're like dying, dude, time gets really weird. Okay, time gets really like fucking weird, dude. You start processing time just like so weird. It's like it never stops. There's so much of it all of a sudden. Like your brain doesn't have to like be like, oh, the heart's not beating. Well, I guess you don't need your liver. You don't need the stomach. You don't need your genitalia. The circulatory system's useless. All your nerves are not important anymore. And you fucking just start dying. You perceive time in a very bizarre fashion because your brain is always calculating all this autonomous stuff in your body. And when it doesn't have to do that anymore, the way it perceives time is just so weird. I saw visions of hell for like 20 years, dude. I was only 18. And my time perception got so fucked up that I've experienced and witnessed like 20 perpetual sequential years of a fucking fiery ass pit, okay? I was like levitating up on this platform. And for the first couple of years, I was just sitting there, right? I didn't really know what was going on. I was like, what's all this black rain falling from the sky? And I was like sitting on a platform made of skin, like human skin. And there were all these black spires around it. And I just knew, like, if I went near the edge of the platform, I was going to fall off. If I fell down there, I wasn't going to come back out. It is the last time in my fucking life I have ever been scared, was during that abominable vision. Ever since then, nothing has ever scared me. Nothing could possibly ever scare me or terrify me more than that experience. Because as it proceeded, I realized the black rain was not just some ephemeral liquid draining out of the sky clouds above. There were bodies of people. They were just getting impaled, anus first, on these massive black obelisks. It was just coming straight out of their mouths, and they were just screaming endlessly. All around me, this continued happening. More and more people, ass first, falling onto the face of the next until they could no longer scream, until they were melted and fell down into a black sludge into the eternal fiery pit below that I was spared from for some reason. I witnessed that for 20 motherfucking years. I was 18. And at the end of it all, this angel comes down in a golden robe. And I look at him and I just feel like I'm safe, finally, right? I haven't moved for 20 years. And he unfurls a scroll. I can't see it. I'm looking up at him. He's really tall. He's like 30 feet tall compared to me. And he looks down at me. And he looks at the scroll. And he looks at me. And he goes, yeah. Let's go. And then I thought I died. Thought I was dead. Thought it was over finally, right? I was filled with so much peace. I was like, wow, cool. It's over. Yay. Ha. I'm 36 years old now. 38 will be the point where my physical body reaches the point where my consciousness has existed. That's weird, right? On top of being autistic. So I wake up. In the process of waking up, I go back. The way the brain comes back from all this, it's kind of like Peter Pan. You go to a happy memory, you go to your happy thoughts. And I'm coming out of this after 20 years. I'm like, oh, I'm behind the television at home. I'm trying to hook up the Nintendo 64. But we got the laser disc and the cable box and the VCR, Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo hooked up. I gotta unplug this thing so I can plug the Nintendo 64 in. Like, I wanna play some Mario 64. And I remember I was thinking that for I guess maybe about half an hour. Because I remember getting irritated that I couldn't unhook the stuff from like the switch box. As I'm like, yo, I want to put the N64 on like this button, you know. Why can't I unhook the thing? Why do these cables not unhook? And then my brain kind of fully rebooted at some point. And I was trying to like pull the tubes out of my hand and out of my arm and out of this arm and out of my throat. And what is this? Where the fuck am I? What is all this stuff in me? What the hell happened to me? I was delirious for probably the next 20 hours. My nutrients came from a bag and an IV drip during that point because just nothing worked. First real clear memory I have though is this group of doctors coming in and, you know, talking to me, and the head doctor asking the new doctors questions, being like, this dude's got so and so. How do you think that happened, and what do you think could be done to assist, and blah blah blah. And I don't know medical terminology, but you know, they came in frequently to, you know, use me as a grounds for like, hey, here's how treatment of viral lung pneumonia goes. And I'm like, the first time I'm finally able to actually speak, the first time my fucking esophagus functions enough, my lungs have enough capacity in them after having a tube stuffed down my throat at every single 12, 3, 6, 9 a.m. and p.m. for a week straight. Had to have a tube in my throat every single time at that time. Every non-stop. I didn't get any sleep, bro. I got to sleep for like 2-hour chunks at a time between these sessions of having a tube shoved down my throat, putting vapors into my lungs so that they could actually function again. When I could finally talk again, I asked the doctor, how long has my pneumonia been going on? He's like, looks like about a week, couple days. So all that time ago when that doctor told me I had a cold, guess what? I was right. Fuck you. I had pneumonia. I ran 2.5 miles with a heart stopped beating with pneumonia just to show up some motherfucker who told me I wasn't shit. Because no one fucks with an Italian. Don't even try it. You do not understand, man. Chinese people talk about the dragon. There's not even an animal on this planet that can properly encapsulate Italiano, okay? We defy death just to show you up. Don't fuck with us, right? Nonetheless, I was not in a good shape. I came to the realization that I freaking died. And I was resuscitated. And I had pneumonia. And I broke, man. I am a bit ashamed, but I'm still drunk enough, not ashamed enough. I broke, dude. I broke hard. We weren't even allowed to watch TV because I was a trainee. I was allowed to call home once a day, thankfully. That was a saving grace. I had a super cool nurse. Late at night, 9 p.m., guaranteed. No military personnel are in Wilford Medical Hall after 9 p.m. My super awesome, just Herculean epitome of masculinity. I love this guy. I wish I remembered his name. You know, just this, like, if I was a chick, I would have sought to marry him. Gorgeous hunk of a man, 6.5 feet tall, you know, whose hair could easily grace the ceiling if he skipped slightly with the unicorn that he likely goes home to pet. Every night, 9 p.m., no military personnel. He rolls up, turns on the TV. He's like, yo, bro, Adult Swim. Want to watch some Family Guy? I was like, the first time I was like, actually, I'm a trainee. I haven't finished basic training yet, so we're not allowed to watch TV. And he's like, yeah, I know, but I think it'll go crazy otherwise, man. Enjoy. I'll make sure to turn it off before any brass comes in. So just enjoy, okay? That guy saved my sanity at that point, straight up, man. Like, I mean, honestly, I was kind of over Family Guy at that point. I didn't really find it as funny anymore. But in that situation, man, it is the funniest thing in the world. You do not understand. It is the just funniest thing in the world at that point. So I finally get out of Wilford Medical Hall. They put me over in the sick bay. And I was effed up, right? I got viral lung pneumonia I'm recovering from. I just freaking died. Again, I didn't actually die. Won't stress that. I just say that for, you know, exaggerated effect because that's the kind of person I am. And I was just like going through like routine paperwork stuff because I was like, I had to change from my initial squadron over to the 319th, which was called Crutchland. We'll get into some humor before I get into the bullcrap. Disneyland was called that because T.I. once famously forged his identification to have a picture of Mickey Mouse on it and a name that said Mouse, Mickey, just fake everything on it, just to see if the dorm guard was paying attention or not. Because your dorm guards are only allowed to let authorized personnel into a dorm. And this stupid, dumbass, fucking idiot actually let this guy in with a Mickey Mouse ID. And it's like, hey, bro, I did not display proper identification. Mickey Mouse is not allowed to enter this dormitory. So that entire squadron, for probably like 15 years by that point, has been known as Disneyland. That's freaking funny. There was another one named Candyland, which I will probably get into. I'm just spilling my guts at this point. Crutchland was sick bay. It had like stress fractures in the shins from running too hard. Like severely dislocated shoulders. Anything that would require medical leave for like 3 to 6 months to heal. People were typically sent there and eventually sent home, particularly if you got into the B9 or B10 dorms. That's where you did not want to end up. At the time, I think I was in let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, I think B4. It was the thing that sucked about it is that, okay, I had pneumonia. My lungs were just now recovering. I had to carry my freaking duffel bag, okay? That's your entire basic military life in that bag on my back. It weighs like 68 pounds. It's a heavy son of a gun. I had to carry it up 3 flights of stairs by myself. I finally get up there and I remember sitting on the bed and some dude comes over to me and he's like, man, how'd you get here? And I was like, I got really bad pneumonia, dude. I just got really sick, so I had to be taken out of training. You know, they're gonna put me back in, week 2 again once I'm not so sick anymore. He's like, man, bro, I was in week 4, I think. Yeah, because week 5 is Warrior Week. So he was in week 4. It was the day before he was about to sew his name tags on, man. Up until that point, you don't even have a name tag on your dress blouse. Like, imagine that, okay? You are not even allowed to emblazon your own name on your own uniform until a certain week in basic training. It's to help re-identify your new self so that you're not carrying your old name through the initial training. That's how it works. There's a psychological aspect to it. And, it's kind of a big deal to be able to sew your name with your own needle and thread that is given to you onto your many dress blouses. The day before he was allowed to do that, dude gets sent over to sick bay. Not allowed to put his name on his dress blouses yet. Felt sorry for that guy. Problem was, I passed the fuck out right afterwards. Because I had to carry this duffel bag upstairs. My body was about to freaking die again. Like, son of a... Dude, man. I can push my body. I should have asked for help carrying that bag up the stairs. But I was like, no, I'm going to push myself. I'm a tough guy. Almost died again after coming back to life. That's, again, that is the kind of person I am. And then it was the day after that, because again, really not doing well. Brain's barely functioning. Going off the last 2 weeks of basic training to get me through, just going off of rigmarole, going off of just pedantic crap I've been doing. And I remember just handing in some basic paperwork, and I accidentally referred to this 4-stripe sergeant as sir, because up until that point, as a male, every single superior officer that I encountered, because we get fucking naked in our dorms as men, they've all been males. Women are not allowed in men's dormitories because we get fucking naked in there. You're not allowed in there. Lawsuits. So, I had only ever been drilled, sir. Yes, sir. Here you go, sir. Thank you, sir. Right? So I accidentally called this woman sir. That is the biggest mistake you can ever make in the military. It was so big, it got me kicked out. She threw such a hissy fit over me misgendering her. She had me put up for psych evaluation. And wow, given the circumstances, guess what happened? Psych evaluator was like, this guy's unable to maintain a military bearing. He does not have the mentality fit for the military. And I'm just like, motherfucker, I just killed myself twice for you in the last few days, and you tell me I can't maintain a military bearing? You know what? Fine. Last time I argued with you motherfuckers, it killed me. Fine. You know what? Fuck it. So I get sent to the B9 dorms with all the other rejects. Guaranteed you are being sent home. Your ass is done. You're on the barbecue. It's just a matter of time until the cook takes you off the grill, man. You're going home. And I saw a lot of people in there worse off than me. I was only 18 years old. And there was people in their 20s, 30s, 40s. They were in way worse off state than me. Holy shit. Man, I'll never forget. I'm 18 years old. I'm sitting on the bench in the shower room, right? You know, we just got like our underwear and our shirts on and everything. And this dude is big old dude. This guy's like 6 foot tall, 240 pounds. He's a big, buff, tough old dude with a big, strong torso, big old strong arms. And he is crying on my shoulder so much that my shoulder was hot and wet from his tears as he explained to me the reason he could not maintain a military bearing, why he actually could not maintain his military bearing. It's because he missed his wife. He couldn't stand being away from his wife. It broke the man. I understand that now. Back then, I didn't really get it. I was like, yo, I kind of get it. Your wife, you married her. I get it. It's a big deal. But shit, dude, you're crying on my shoulder for like 40 fucking minutes. Holy shit. Calm down. I get it these days, though, for sure. I can't even stand when my wife's away at work. Shit. Um, but there were so many people whose spirits were broken. My body was broken to shit. My body was obliterated, eviscerated, destroyed, cut into pieces, dusted, chaffed, thrown into the wind, just coursed around the entire world into pieces. But my spirit was not broken. Tuh, you can't break an Italian spirit. Don't even try. You'll waste your time. And I felt so sorry for these people that I was like, yo, you know what, guys? You can't even function. You can't even eat because you miss your wife. You were unable to celebrate the anniversary of your friend's car accident death. It took her from her prematurely. You miss your kids so much. You don't have anything to go back to. When you get off the plane, that's your life. You're homeless and have nothing. You know, there were some people a lot worse off there than me. So I'm like, man, you guys shouldn't be doing laundry. You guys shouldn't be sweeping the stupid stairwell and cleaning the banister. You guys shouldn't have to be concerned about, oh, make sure every single chair in the day room is exactly fucking 2 3/4 inches away from the wall and exactly so and so inches away from each other perpendicular. Man, make sure there's no water in the shower room drain. That's a real thing. You'll get the merits if there is any moisture 5 inches down into the drain pipe of the shower room that 60 people use. You'll get a demerit for that. You have to dry everything in there. Like, I just drill you for anything. And I'm like, you know what? This guy over here is puking his guts out. One dude tried to fucking kill himself. Actually, two dudes tried to kill themselves while I was there. Um, One dude tried to hang himself, but he tried to do it from like an air vent that was not secured very well. And what he ended up doing when he jumped off the sink trying to hang himself was just knocked the vent off the ceiling and cracked him in the head. And then everyone in the dorm ran in there like, dude, what the hell are you trying to do? And, emotional breakdown, obviously. Bunch of dudes just got on the floor with him, hugging him like, bro, we know it's bad, but you gotta keep going type of deal. It was pretty cool actually. To see people not being judgmental in a situation like that and just being like, bro, it's okay, chill. You know what? You obviously need to talk. Please talk to one of us. We're here for you, obviously. Come on. We're all in this big old fucking pile in the bathroom floor hugging each other. Like, drop the pretense. If you need to talk, let's do it, man. Let's be human beings. There was another time I went into the day room at nighttime because again, it's a day room. You're not supposed to go in there at nighttime. I was doing my final check because I'm like, y'all don't need to be doing this crap. So before I close out the door, I'll go in there, lights are off, and I'm just kind of in the dark. I'm kind of just like looking at this chair, like, okay, that's all good. There's no dust like in the door frame area. Everything looks pretty good. I think I'll just close the door. Something tapped me on the shoulder and was like, hey, look. So I turn to look around. And I look at the window. And I'm like, there's someone sitting in the window, like legs out the window, head out the window, pretty much just their hands, part of their butt cheeks, and their spinal cord is in the windowsill. And my stomach just dropped into my knees. I was like, oh, Jesus. No, please, no. I am about to see someone kill themselves for real. What do I do? Like, I was so scared that, like, if I spoke too loud, I would startle him and he would just like fall out the window. Like I didn't know if I should like silently go up to him, try to pull him in. I didn't know if there would be a bad reflex, and I did not want this guy to fucking kill himself. And I just got maybe about 15 feet from him, I guess. And just, real softly, I was like, what's wrong, bro? And he just said, he's just like, everything. I can't do it. I was like, maybe not alone. And he kind of like really slowly just like ducks his head in the window. He's still sitting in the windowsill, but he's kind of like heads talking to me. He's like, "What's there to live for?" I told him, "Well, I live for God, man. What do you? I don't know. That's been my answer." And he's just like, "Well, I don't think I believe in your God. I'm a shaman." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool. I've never met a shaman before. Like what do you do?" And we just started talking, you know? And I don't think either of us really realized at what point he came back in the window, and we just kind of were sitting on the ground just talking to each other for about his religious beliefs that I didn't know anything about. So I was like, "Yo, tell me what you believe. I want to know." And I never told anyone about that. I don't think he told anyone either. So this is probably the first time anyone other than me or him has ever heard about this happening. But like seriously, everyone in there was really effed up, and I just couldn't stand to see these people like do this menial task while like you're psychologically broken, bro. I got you. Don't worry about it. My favorite thing actually was dorm guard duty because that got you out of a lot of things if you knew what dorm guard shifts to take. Sometimes though, because I was recovering from pneumonia, I couldn't sleep anyway. There was no point trying to sleep, especially because the guy in the bed right next to me snored like an entire chainsaw factory, and some like petulant brat went in there and ripped cord and everything and just turned them all on at once. This dude snored like that. He's right next to me. Everyone made me an element leader, so I was like one of the head beds toward the front of the dorm. By that point, and I was just like, you know what, my bed is like right next to the dorm guard station at nighttime. Gotta have two dorm guards, not just one. You have one during the daytime, but at nighttime you gotta have two. So I actually like the nighttime dorm guard shift because that was the best way to get to know people. Honestly, it's like, yo, bro, it's freaking. We got the midnight to 2 in the morning shift. Let's freaking go, man. Everyone else is asleep. Where are you from? What hobbies did you have back home? What are you gonna do when you get back home? What kind of food you want to eat when you first get back home? You know, those kind of conversations, like campfire conversations. Those were good times too. And at one time, my dorm guard partner was this mischievous, 6 foot tall, blonde hair, blue eyed, rapscallious young man, about my age. We're on a dorm guard shift for probably about an hour, the midnight to 2 a.m. shift. And he points over to the dude who sleeps next to me. And he's like, man, that guy snores a lot. I'm like, yeah, dude, we have tried to tell him multiple times, lay on your side, okay? The reason you're snoring is because you're laying on your back. And it causes part of your larynx to flatten because your whole body is flat. And that's the most common thing that causes snoring when people are lying flat on their back. You just lie on your freaking side and you stop snoring. He would never do it. Here's the fun part is this particular guy was straight up an internet ninja wannabe. You could tell that this guy was the type of person who was very used to posturing on like Reddit, online forums, things like that, and had never been faced with reality once in his life. Now, it's really common to only have shaving cream in the military because the gel is prone to leak. Because at Lackland AFB, Texas, the temperature shifts drastically. It gets really cold, then it gets really hot, then it gets really cold. The gel, like shaving gel, it causes the interior pressure of the can to oscillate and it makes the gel leak. So they tell you, don't ever take the gel. A lot of people took the gel anyway. I took the gel anyway. I didn't care. I was that person. So I'm telling this guy about Snore Boy over here. Don't remember his name. The snoring ninja. He's all trying to posture to us one time at Chow Hall because it's just 4 people to a table. He's like, yeah, man, I've trained in professional katana practice under a master swordsman. And like one time, my sister came and woke me up while I was asleep. So I have a lead pipe that I sleep with under my pillow and a katana under my bed. And I instinctively pushed her off of me, grabbed the pipe, unsheathed the katana, and I had the katana on her neck and the pipe raised up over my head. I had her pinned on the ground, and I was like, huh? What? And then I actually woke up. I didn't realize I almost killed my sister. I'll relay this to my blonde haired rapscallion compatriot dorm guard friend. And he says, Salvato, do you got shaving cream or the gel? I was like, I got both, actually. Why? He's like, go unlock your security drawer. Go get the shaving cream. I'm gonna go to the latrine. I'm gonna get some paper towels. Come on. So I had a choice in this. I chose to be a douchebag to the douchebag I'm not saying it makes it right, but it certainly makes it funny. He comes back with maybe about 3 feet of paper towels. And at first, he just rips off a little strip. And he's like, I'm going to test this guy just to be sure before we do anything, okay? And he just takes the strip and just like, across this dude's face, right? And nothing, because he's snoring like a tractor party down south in Georgia. Like, there was a point I saw the little strip of like paper towel just like wisping, and this guy's snoring typhoon exploding out of his gullet. So we're like, all right, you know what? This guy's a heavy sleeper. We can go pretty far. We didn't know how far we were going to have to go. So we do the classic thing because he's on his back. It's just like, it's begging us. This is the whole reason he asked, because this dude's hand is like right here. Like, it's so perfect. It's so perfect. Dude, give me I was like, dude, I'm not going to do it. You're going to do it. I was like, all right, fine, I'll do it. I didn't touch anything at that point. I supplied the ammunition. I made him shoot the gun. I'm still guilty. I'm not trying to say I'm not guilty, but I didn't actually do this. You just straight put like a mountain of shaving cream, like way, way more shaving cream than has ever been necessary for this prank. No one has ever put this much shaving cream on a person's hand to do this prank. But this guy, he just couldn't let up. In the heat of the moment during the nighttime dorm guard prank, when no one has any say in the matter except the 2 dorm guards, the pranks might get a little crazy. And the best part was this guy's reaction, though. He's finally just taken like 5-ply of paper towel. He's like wadded it up. He's twisted it up like a newspaper to bap Fido with. He's just like poking the guy's freaking face with it at this point. Like, he's. And he finally just goes like, ugh. That's it. And then maybe about 30 seconds later, he's like, huh? What happened? And he immediately, logically, and obviously comes over to us 2 dorm guards who are sitting at the chairs at the front of the dorm and accuses us of pulling this prank. And I'm talking like, wait, what happened? Dude, you have shaving cream on your hands. Just dead ass. Absolutely, both of us, 100%, just like acted like we had no clue what had even happened. We were like, dude, we've been talking about like Konami games on the Nintendo. Like, I'm sorry, we don't even know what happened, dude. And then his reaction is the best part. He's like, "Oh man, I could have suffocated. You guys could have killed me." And it's like, you know what, dude? I've actually fucking died recently. You would not die from having a little bit of shaving cream on your fucking nose, okay? You little baby. When people wake me up, I've almost fucking kill them. Ugh, you almost killed me with shaving cream. What a stupid bitch. God, that guy was a bitch. Seriously. Anyway, cool story time. Staff Sergeant Engelman. I remember her name for sure. She had the entire 319 squadron come down. Out on the pad. Everyone's sitting Indian style. She's up there at the front of the pad with her cute little daughter, elementary school, in her Girl Scout uniform, bunch of badges on it. She's got a big old smile, a big old box of candy bars. Staff Sergeant Engelman, badass black lady. Okay, you want to just imagine the most badass black woman with some big old broad ass shoulders and just the most booming gospel voice. That was Staff Sergeant Engelman. She was cool. She tells us, my daughter's having a fundraiser and I really want her class to succeed. So I bought like 500 candy bars from her. I don't really have anywhere to put them. So I figured I'd give them to you guys. Here you go. Make sure everyone gets one. There's enough for some people to have two. You could trade them around if you want. And for just a few minutes, just for 10 minutes, there's a bunch of grown-ass men sitting around on the asphalt, trading candy bars with each other. Like, hey, bro, you got a peanut butter one? I got a caramel one. You want to trade? Like, it was just this big old trade frenzy for a little bit. And then after like 5 minutes, there was this quiet calm as everyone finally had the candy bars they wanted. And we all silently ate them and like crumpled up the wrappers all neatly and collected them and disposed of them. And then we all just went back to our dorms like nothing out of the ordinary happened. Just went back doing details, you know. Some people wanted to take a shower. That was fine in the middle of the day. We didn't care. We'll clean it up. And I'm sitting there in the shower room because I like the heat and the moisture. It's a good way to think. I'm just like, you know what? Military Air Force values, right? Honesty, integrity, service before self. You know what? I think we should pay back Staff Sergeant Engelman. Because what she did was really cool, actually. It let us all chill out for a little bit. Just forget where we are. You know, that was pretty chill. And she was helping out her daughter. She dropped a ton of money on those candy bars, man. Those things are kind of expensive. So I start telling everyone in the dorm, like, hey, I'm going to collect donations for Staff Sergeant Engelman. If anyone got any cash on them, I want you to write down if you have a $1 bill, write down the serial number on that $1 bill. If you're going to give a 5, write down the serial number on that 5. If you're going to give multiple ones, write down every individual serial number of every single thing that you are going to donate. Then give it to me, and then I will keep a ledger of every single thing that everyone has donated, and then I will give it to the dorm chief for him to keep hold of. Within 2 days, I was very impressed that we raised, I believe it was about $258. Not enough to cover the cost of chocolate that she paid for, but I was impressed by how many downtrodden people were willing to be generous with their cash in basic training, which was a pretty rare commodity, to be honest with you. And I had this multiple sheets of paper of like this person's name. Here's the $1 bill. Here's the $5. Here's the $10 they gave. Here's this person's name. Here's the one. Here's this one. Here's this one. Here's this one. This person's name. Here's the 1 they gave. Here's the 5 they gave. Every single person's name, every bill, every serial number. And they had documentation that it was from them before they gave it to me, just to make sure. Nighttime, about 7:30, half hour before lights out. Me and the dorm chief are like, yo, you ready to go drop it off? I'm like, hell yeah, let's go do it. We go up to the front office, just walk up in there like bosses, like we own the place because we got business there. The people up front, they don't like any of the trainees from the B dorms because we're rejects and we're going to get kicked out, right? We just walk straight up to Staff Sergeant Engelman's mailbox, dorm chief, drops it in. And we're just like, just dropping off a letter for Staff Sergeant Engelman. Good night, ma'am. We go back to our dorm, and we're feeling pretty good about ourselves. Like, yeah, you know what? We did a good thing. We organized a good thing. We brought out some good in people, and we did a good thing. We should feel good about ourselves for that. We went to sleep after our Bible study. We had a cool dorm chief who insisted on studying a secular, studying a Bible verse in a secular way that could be applied to other people's religions, which was really cool of him. Now, the next morning, we're in line for Chow Hall for breakfast, and Staff Sergeant Engelman comes over to our flight, and she's just like, "Who's the dorm chief here?" He was like, I forget his name. It was Duncan. He said, "Ma'am, Trini Duncan reports is ordered." "I am, ma'am." And she says, "Come over here. I need to talk to you." And I was like, "Uh-oh. Oh, no. What happened?" He comes back about a minute later. He says, "Sabato, I need to talk to you after chow. See me in the dorm immediately after you're done eating." I'm like, we effed up, didn't we? We didn't study the BTMSG. This is going to be considered bribery. We just like effed up, dude. So after chow hall, dorm chief explains to me exactly what Staff Sergeant Engelman said. She's not allowed to accept any gifts, much less money, because it can be considered bribery, from lower ranking anyone, much less a trainee. But she was so moved by our entire dormitory's willingness to pay her back with cash, she said she was going to make an exception for us because we abided by honesty, integrity, and service before self with such an exemplary fashion without being asked. She said, "You know what? Here's the deal. This coming Sunday, your flight, I'm going to arrange it so that you guys get to be in the library, just you guys, for 3 hours. And I'm going to let you use all that money to order Pizza Hut. You tell me what pizzas you want. I will order them. I will pick them up, and I will deliver them to the library myself. And you'll also be given 30 minutes of time on the pad. Anyone who wants to call home, you're allowed to do that. You're also allowed to use the ice cream vending machine. They had a vending machine that had ice cream sandwiches in it. There was like 7 kinds of ice cream sandwiches in the vending machine. And God help you, if you used it without permission, you were in big trouble. But we were allowed to use it that day. And we filled laundry bags up with Fruitopias and Coca-Colas, Mountain Dews, and plenty of water. We had an entire bag of just water and then one bag of like junk drinks. We bought, I believe it was $40 worth of ice cream sandwiches. And the best part, the best part, she told us also, I'm going to arrange it so there's a DVD player and a big TV in the library for you guys. You tell me what movie y'all want to see. I'm going to drive to Blockbuster next to the base, rent it for you, and come bring that to you with your pizza. Staff Sergeant Engelman, she was cool, man. You know what? She saw us and we saw her. And that, sadly, didn't really happen a whole lot in my time in the military. But it did with her, and she was cool. And that day, a bunch of broken, sorrowful, destroyed, downtrodden, bone-broken men sat around in a library watching Scarface, devouring 16 pizzas, one of which was given completely to me because everyone recognized that I was the one responsible for spearheading this, and they wouldn't have any of that without me. I took one slice and said, you know what, I'll just take the one extra slice. Just whoever wants it, you can have it. I really wanted the whole pizza. It was a cheese pizza. Love just plain cheese pizza, man. But I just sat like in the back, kicked my feet up on a desk because no one could tell me what to do at that point, just for that short time. I was just back in the corner, just watching all these dudes. Like, I don't care about Scarface. It's not my kind of movie, honestly. But, you know, these dudes were obviously really into it. And just drinking soda, eating pizza, being able to cuss as much as you want without being in trouble. Like, that was cool. You know, I was glad that I was able to do that for those guys. Because, you know, they were all pretty broken too. After I'd been in Crutchland for 4 weeks, they were having a celebratory little, I guess you could call it carnival party type of thing. Because, you know, they bring in a bunch of flights at the same time. They all graduate at the same time. So they have a big old party for all the flights that graduate at the same time. So I was going to the celebration for my flight that I was not a part of. But hey, it's a free hour and a half to kick around and just go wherever you want by yourself and sit in the grass, hang out by the trees, drink some Coke, eat some popcorn. You know what? It's a little bittersweet because it's supposed to be my graduation party, but here I am over here. Don't even have my name sewn on my uniform. And it was a good time for first 40 minutes. Till some guy comes up to me and he's like, "Is that you, Salvato?" I turn around and I don't really recognize the guy at first because his face looks different. And he's like, "Salvato, you're in like the B dorms in the 319th, right?" I was like, "Yeah, I am." And his expression changed. All of a sudden, it was this mixture of like worry and intrigue at the same time. He just asked me, "How'd you do it? How'd you get out, man?" And I was just like, there was a lot of emotions in me when he looked at me and asked me that. And I just was like, I am where I am because of what you did to me. And then he explains to me, he signed up to be a ranger, the type who operates guns in helicopters. And during his 5th week in Warrior Week, when they fire guns with blank rounds in them, he's never actually aimed a gun at another human being and pulled a trigger before. He's never fired a blank round at another person before. And doing that made him realize that he is incapable of taking another human being's life. And so during his graduation, when he finally saw me, he was just asking me, "How'd you get out, man? How'd you get out of this?" And I'm just like, because of what you did to me, man. You're going to have to live with that, you know? I felt really sorry for the guy, frankly. But it's like, dude, I had pneumonia when you made me use that chrome cleaner. My heart stopped the next day. That's why I disappeared from the dorms, dude. You caused that. You're afraid of taking someone's life? You actually took mine. I'm thankful to be alive. You're on your own, dude. I didn't necessarily forgive him, but I didn't really wasn't really harsh with him either. Probably should have been, frankly. Weeks go by. I was in a psychiatric counseling group, kind of to help other people, kind of for myself. There was one time we watched Shawshank Redemption in the psychiatric counseling group. We watched it in 3 sections and discussed how the movie was similar to our own situation, which was very cathartic and highly therapeutic. And one time, it was run by the chaplains. The chaplains were really cool. They ran the psychiatric counseling class. And one of them took me aside one time and was just like, how you doing, Salvato? Where are you from? I was like, oh, I'm from California. He was like, oh, man. You say you don't know yet. I was like, what? Like, you Arnold Schwarzenegger's your governor now, man. I was like, man, I've been in the military for 6 weeks and my entire state has a celebrity governor all of a sudden. That's a trip, bro. That's kind of cool, actually. Turns out Arnold Schwarzenegger's been our best governor in my entire lifetime. Weird, right? And, it was just the last other fun thing I think I can really tack onto this, because I've been talking for 300 hours straight, is in the B9 dorms, eventually we all kind of decided, like, hey, all these other people came from multiple other dorms. This dorm likes this axe, this dorm likes this axe. Everyone has showed up with like the whole rainbow of axe fragrances. We need a single fragrance in the latrine. Tired of this nauseating mixture of multiple sprays. Every time someone has to take a dump and you spray your axe afterwards, tired of it. Man, it'd be better with no axe at all. We're at the BX one time, and this cool kid, Kelly. I don't remember his first name, but I know his last name was Kelly. I remember that because he actually had his name on his uniform. And Kelly's like, hey, I think we should get a spray just for the latrine. Like, no one has to use their axe in the latrine anymore. We're going to get something that is just for the latrine. I'm like, you know what? That's a good idea. And we're over there looking at the different, axes. And Kelly, he's off a couple more feet to the right. And we're like, Kelly, that's the women's body fragrances, bro. And he's like, so what? They smell good. Just think of it like an air freshener, man. And I was like, all right, that's fair. So we go over there and we're just like, do we want peach blossom or vanilla bean? That's the two we decided it had to be between. And it kind of came down to mostly just like me forcing my opinion that the peach wouldn't mix well with things and the vanilla is a more neutral scent. So we get the vanilla bean body spray. And it's a wonder. It changes everything. But the problem is you cannot leave items like that sitting out in a dormitory because they're not authorized. Have to be in a security drawer. And it became an issue of who's going to hold the vanilla body spray. Because whoever it is, every time someone takes a dump, you have to go in there and spray it. So who wants that responsibility? Nobody wanted that responsibility except for Kelly, the guy who came up with the idea of getting the vanilla body spray. Kelly got sent home, I think about 2 weeks before me. And I remember that when someone goes home in the B dorms, you give away all your stuff, even though you have to have all your crap on it. Like the first letter of your last name and then the last 4 digits of your social security number. You have to write that on every shirt, pair of pants, dress blouse, every cover. It's like everything, man. Like everything, even your socks, your towels, everything. No, wait. What in the socks? You did the socks were the only things I think that were spared from that. You did have to write it on the inside of your boots though, with a whiteout pen. But people give away a lot of their stuff. They keep some stuff for mementos for being in the military. But you typically give away your socks, give away your brown shirts, give away your extra dress blouses. A lot of people, most people kept the boots. Most people kept the boots because it's like, I walked in here. I walked in here on these boots, man. I'm going to keep these. I'm going to take these with me. And as Kelly's handing out everything, he looks at me and smiles. He says, Sabato, you are the new keeper of the vanilla. And I was like, I will take this responsibility very seriously. And I did. Until it came time for me to also go home. I didn't give the vanilla away to anyone. Because I started using it on myself because I actually really liked it. It smells great. And there was one time before I got a neutral discharge. I was 4 days short of honorable discharge. They waited until the last second to make sure I couldn't get VA. That was kind of bullshit. Especially because I developed Crohn's disease as a result of what happened to me. VA would have been nice. So one time, I'm usually the last one to get out of the shower. I let everyone else shower first because I can get out of the shower, dry myself off, and get dressed in like 2 minutes. I don't care. I'm fast. So I'm usually the last one out of the shower. And that means I'm usually the last one to get down to the pad, which is fine because of my height relative to everyone else. I was always in the furthest left element, so it was really easy for me to slot in kind of last second toward the back. I'm coming out of the shower. I look at my security drawer, and to this day, I still don't know how my Axe body spray was gone. It just wasn't in my security drawer. I don't remember. I must have lent it to someone, and they just didn't give it back. And I'm like, bro, if you go down on the pad without using like body spray, the TIs will sniff you out. They are bloodhounds. They will find the person who did not use body spray. I had no choice. I doused myself in that stuff, man. I covered myself in it. I get down to the pad. One of the TIs pacing back and forth, sniffing. One of you smells like hot cocoa. Which one of you is taking food back into the dormitory? You better speak up because I will smell it on you. And he starts homing in on me. And I figure, you know what? I'm about to be kicked out anyway. I got nothing left to lose. Who cares? I was like, sir, Trainee Sabato reports his order. It's not cocoa, sir. It's vanilla. And he comes over to me and he's like, son, why in the piss do you smell like women's body fragrance? And I just looked at him dead in the eye because I didn't like this guy. He didn't like me either. I was just like, because, sir, it smells delightful. And then he just went like, peaced out. Never bothered me again while I was in there. Then I came home, got really fucking depressed for like 2 years. And while I was taking care of my bedridden dad who was dying of brain cancer, I wrote like 12 novels, actually. I did that while I was playing Final Fantasy 11. I don't know if anyone I played with knew. Guess what? I was writing novels while I was tanking Cerberus and shit, man. Oh, man. So, yeah, that's me.